Welcome to this week's edition of the Africa Today News Weekly News Roundup. I am Favor Aham, bringing you the top stories that shaped the world, Africa and Nigeria. Beginning with the headlines. BBC Chief Tim Davie resigns after leaked memo reveals Trump speech editing. Mali suspends French broadcasters TF1 and LCI over alleged misinformation. UK asylum reforms extend permanent status wait until 20 years. South Africa responds to Trump's G20 boycott, calling it their loss. Global electric vehicle sales rise 23% in October. David Szalay wins the Booker Prize for his novel, Flesh. Nigeria defers petrol and diesel import duty to 2026. NBA legend Lenny Wilkens dies at 88. Now to the news in detail, beginning from the international scene. Britain's public broadcaster entered deep turmoil as the BBC's Director General Tim Davie resigned following leaked documents that exposed serious editorial errors. The memo revealed that a Trump speech from January the 6th had been misleadingly edited in a way that implied he directly encouraged violence. Davie, who had served as the BBC's top executive, accepted full responsibility and said the decision to step down was his alone. Meanwhile, Deborah Turns, the head of the news division, also resigned, leaving the broadcaster scrambling to restore public trust in one of the most consequential crises in its recent history. News coming in from West Africa has it that Mali's High Authority for Communication suspended French channels TF1 and LCI after accusing them of broadcasting false information regarding a fuel blockade imposed by an Al-Qaeda-linked group. The regulator said the networks aired unverified claims during a November 9th report and ordered distributors to pull the channels immediately. The move underscored Mali's increasingly fraught relationship with Western media as its military leadership continues to tighten information controls. Meanwhile, the United Kingdom prepared for sweeping changes to its asylum policy. As Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood said, illegal migration was tearing the country apart, as she announced that refugees granted asylum will now need to wait 20 years before applying for permanent residency. Asylum status will also be subject to regular review, and those whose home countries are judged safe will be expected to return. Human rights groups warned the reforms could create long-term uncertainty for vulnerable people seeking protection. We have news that diplomatic tensions also arose ahead of the G20 summit, as United States President Donald Trump confirmed he would boycott the gathering in Johannesburg. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa dismissed the move, calling it their loss, and urging Washington to reconsider the effectiveness of boycott politics. Relations between the two countries have been strained by U.S. claims of anti-white persecution in South Africa and Pretoria's pressure for Israeli accountability at the International Court of Justice. Global markets have shown signs of momentum in the clean energy sector. Research firm Motion reported that global sales of electric and plug-in hybrid vehicles surged 23% in October to 1.9 million units. Europe posted particularly strong growth driven by consumer demand in Germany, France, and the United Kingdom. China, which accounts for more than half of global EV purchases, continued to anchor worldwide sales, even as markets adjusted from peak month highs. The literary world celebrated a new champion as British-Hungarian writer David Szalay won this year's Booker Prize for his novel, Flesh. Judges praised the book as extraordinary, singular, and unlike anything else in contemporary fiction. Flesh follows the life of a mysterious and emotionally distant man navigating shifting worlds from a Hungarian housing estate to elite London cycles. The decision was unanimous, with the panel calling the work dark but deeply rewarding. From Nigeria, the federal government announced a deferment of the 15% import duty on petrol and diesel until the first quarter of 2026. The measure, formally approved by President Bola Tinubu, followed a detailed request from FIRS Chairman Zach Adedeji, who advised that the market was not ready for the rollout. The pause aims to ease pressure on fuel prices and prevent disruptions across the downstream sector while the government prepares a more orderly implementation plan. From the world of sports and culture, the global basketball community mourned the passing of Lenny Wilkens, one of the most celebrated figures in NBA history. Wilkens, who died at the age of 88, was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame 3 times as a player, as a coach, and as an assistant coach for the iconic 1992 U.S. Olympic Dream Team. He coached more games than anyone in NBA history and guided Team USA to Olympic gold in 1996. Tributes poured in from across the sports world, honoring his leadership, calm presence, and transformative impact on the game. Now that's it on this week's News Roundup. Join us again next weekend for the top stories shaping the world, Africa, and Nigeria. I am Favor Aham. Thanks for watching.